All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome once again to another episode of the Remarkable Coach podcast. As always, I'm your host, Michael Pacheco. Today with me, I have Janet Martin. Janet is an organizational leadership coach, mentor, and I hope I pronounced this right, eduvational speaker. I think that's
Yes.
educational and motivational.
Yes.
Janet's focus is helping individuals and teams manifest personal and professional goals through facilitating workshops such as vision board groups and leadership mastermind style training. Janet also does one-on-one coaching on goals and becoming a person of influence. Janet, welcome to the Remarkable Coach podcast.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm glad that we're finally getting together.
Yes, I appreciate you making time for this. As always, I like to open up the podcast by simply inviting our guests to tell us a little bit more about yourself in your own words and why you got into coaching.
Wow. I always enjoy paying it forward and teaching it forward. And then I found out that you can actually do it and get paid. So I didn't have to necessarily give it away for free all the time, even though I still do that. I just really enjoy anything that I learn. Well, when I love to learn, I love to grow myself and people. I love to connect. And that got me started in doing the coaching and learning about coaching and mentoring. And I thought it was exciting. And so now here I am.
That's awesome. Tell us about your clients. Who's your typical client? Who do you work with?
Well, pivoting is a huge thing in the industry, especially when you're working in something where like education or, anything to that matter. My actual goal was to be a speaker full time and train a lot of people in a smaller amount of time. And but I know that you can only reach them and do so much on that level. They can walk away feeling good and have some knowledge, some nuggets that they can go back to work or home and utilize. Hopefully they don't forget them. And then mentoring was the other thing, because I wanted to share my experiences, because I know that I've grown and learned from other people sharing their experiences, whether it's in business or family life, friends, different organizations you can belong to. And I actually wanted to stay away from coaching out of all things, because I actually, in my personal life, had people constantly coming up to me and expecting me to kind of be their therapist. Oh. And they didn't want to go to therapy. And I was like, well, that's not how this works. Like, you just don't not go to therapy and then utilize me, because I'm not a professional in that genre. And so coaching to me felt too much like therapy, right? Too much like, oh my gosh, I got to sit here and listen to somebody. That's why I really like the mentoring part of it, so I could actually collaborate with people, and maybe I could walk away with a takeaway too, and use that for somebody else or another group. And I really enjoyed doing the vision board group. I held some vision board groups and loved the outcome, but I noticed as they were packing up to leave and they had their vision boards with them and they were all excited, and I had given them the tools in the beginning, I thought, how am I gonna keep up with these people? I really want to know that they succeed, and I really want to know that they're growing and that they're doing what they want to do and what they're capable of doing. And so then I started researching back into coaching again and thought, okay, so now is the time for me to start doing this, because I can help guide people and just to get their thought process focused, get them unfocused, not so much that I had to tell them what to do or necessarily listen to the history of their life of why they are doing things the way they are now, but actually just say, what is it that you want to do? What are your goals? Okay, so you have this goal. Now, what ways have you thought of getting to this goal? We know that life has obstacles. We know that you may be at a job that that takes up too much of your time, that maybe is not in your wheelhouse that you really want to be doing. So how are we going to get life to kind of pause and get your focus going? And that's where I come in. And that's where I feel like is a really good, strong point for me, because again, I can give suggestions, but it's about what you've already thought about and kind of getting you off that hamster wheel, right? And you just don't want to keep running on this hamster wheel and and like, oh, I've been wanting to do this for years, because I know I've gone through it too. You know, just because I am a coach doesn't mean that I have a perfect life and that everything is like, oh, I know everything to do. But life happens. And once I found out that that's what I could do as far as for coaching, I was in it.
Nice. I love it. I want to talk a little bit about vision boarding.
Okay.
I have personally had so much success in my life come from vision boarding, and but not always necessarily vision boarding, but just visioning,
Right.
writing stuff down, becoming
Right.
clear on what it is I want, thinking about it every day. Talk to us a little bit about vision boarding in Janet's world. What does that look like for you? How do you do that with your clients?
Well, I still like to be hands-on. So I still like it when people are going through magazines and cutting things out, or that I have things that I've printed off already, whether it's sayings like motivational little quotes or things like that to add to, to their vision board. But what I do is I actually do a facilitation. I don't just say, here's some magazines and here's a poster board, go for it. So
Yeah.
I actually say, okay, this is what you're going to do first. This is what we're going to focus on first, and what vision boards are. I do like hands-on. I know you can do it on the computer. I know you can, there's Canva and all kinds of ways that you can do it on the computer. But if you don't print it off, you're not going to see it every day. And then I know that I've put stuff on my phone, put it on my, my homepage and things like that, because I want to remind myself of something. And then, it becomes like, you kind of just see through it. Right. But if you have a vision board, like my vision boards are actually right in front of me on my wall. And, I put things on my board, like a little sticky once I've completed it, because sometimes the way you think that you're going to complete it, there's always a twist. And when you see it in pictures or in words, it keeps that momentum going, instead of, just a great example, going to the grocery store, you make a list, but then you forget it at home. And then you're at the store and you're like, oh, and then you're trying to remember all the stuff, right? You're trying to remember all the milk and the eggs and the cheese and the fish and the whatever. And then you get home and you look at the list and you're like, oh, or, same thing as our thought process. We forget about it if we don't write it down, if we don't write the words down. I've done both. I've done the vision boards with the pictures and the words. And I've done where I've written goals from, just say March to July or something. And I will write down specific, whether it's like, you could do a honey-do list kind of thing, or, chores, but pay off such and such bills by such and such date, just seeing those and posting them every day, whether it's on your bathroom door, your bathroom mirror, your refrigerator. I've done stuff on my refrigerator and it's been like, where it becomes just part of the refrigerator. And so make sure
it disappears into the door of the refrigerator.
Yes.
Totally.
Yes. So I recommend moving it too. Like put it in the put it in front of the fridge. But then if you start noticing like that you're really not paying attention and that's on there, move it someplace else. Those ads that you see sometimes when you go into the bathroom stalls in public places and there's an advertisement on the back of the door and it says, I got your attention, like, because you're sitting on the toilet, right? You can't go anywhere. So you have to look at it. I mean, if you have to put it on your bathroom wall, as you sit down on the toilet every day, you're going to see it. Be creative in how you do it. But yeah, so my vision boards right now have words like be unique and have stuff about my music that I'm a singer-songwriter as well. And I have stuff about my music, about setting goals for that, about, of course, making more money, traveling, like meditation, because self-care is a huge thing when I'm so busy trying to create, running your own business. you're not working 40 hours a week. Your whole, whether you're getting ready for bed or you're getting up in the morning, what's in your mind is your business. What are you going to do today to make it go, or create something, or how are you going to make that money, or who are you going to serve that day? But I have all kinds of things, with my relationship with my husband, improving, exercising, or, getting outdoors and doing more stuff. So I have these all in front of my face every day. So, and I have accomplished a lot of it, and some of it not in the way that I thought I was going to. So it's then, so it's then getting those goals in front of you, and then saying, okay, well, you don't always have to pay off every bill to be able to go on a vacation, right? You don't always have to save up, cash to take a trip. You can get points from, a credit card, travel points, or, some rewards kind of points. There's always a way to make that goal happen. So after doing your vision board, taking the time to sit in front of it and go, okay, so how can I make that happen? I have to going to like a sunny, beachy place on my list. And I ended up going to a national competition for a Veterans Creative Arts Festival, and they flew me to Florida. I was like, goal met, and like, it happens, like it, the manifestation. You want to manifest, you want to see it, feel the energy. And it's not just about like the thing, right? It's like, how is it going to make you feel when you accomplish that goal?
Mm-hmm.
So,
I think I couldn't agree with you more. It's super important, right? To focus on the end game, right? What are you trying to achieve? What are you trying to accomplish? What are you trying to bring more into your life? And don't worry about the method or the channel or how it gets there. Forget about that. Open your mind up to possibilities, because crazy shit happens. It could come from over here. It could come from over there.
Right.
It doesn't matter how it gets there.
Right. I saw I think it was like a part of a show, and there was a man on there, and he said, oh, they told us to have goals when we were growing up. And, and he started saying how like that's complete, crap, and nobody should be making goals because it's just disappointment, and, and all this stuff. And I was listening to it, and I was like, he better make a turn somewhere. And I understood where he was going, because, when we're younger, and even, no matter how old we are, we could be adults, we could be 90 years old, or, whatever. But if you set a goal, that doesn't mean, a lot of people fail at getting to their goal because they have this vision of, okay, I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do this, and then this is going to happen. So then when this and this happen, but then the next step doesn't happen, they go, oh, well, I guess it's, and they brush it aside, and they give up. And that's not the point. When you say a goal, it's like, it should be exciting, and it should be like, okay, so how am I going to get there? What tools do I have, or what tools can I get? And is it going to be a lot of money, or can I use resources? Is this living outside the box, not just thinking outside the box, but living outside the box so you can meet these goals. I've met some amazing people that have gotten to goals that they never even could imagine themselves doing. And it was all because they started asking questions, and then they found out they had a resource. And that they took the opportunity, and then there was another opportunity, and it's just amazing. So that's also what I want to instill in people when I do my vision board groups and workshops, that it's not just about getting from point A to point B, but it's the journey on like, how are you going to get there? Mm-hmm. Is it going to be exciting? Are you just going to do a straight shot? Are you just going to pay for it and then just do it and be like, yay, I did it? Or are you going to be like, okay, I can save up some money, but then I can do this and I could do that, or, or pay off bills, or, or how am I going to get that job? How am I going to get that dream job? Right. It's not just about the education. It's about, again, like reminding yourself of what you've actually done in your life to and then put it on paper and submit it with your, your application, or creating your own company so you can do exactly what you want to do.
Nice. What sort of amazing goals have you seen people achieve?
Well, I mean, I went skydiving about a month ago, and I've been wanting to do this for a few years. And I have a daughter that I had adopted years ago through a marriage, and I wanted her to come here and visit. And I was, and I was her, like, I feel like I'm kind of like her bucket list person, like, what do you want to do? And we were supposed to go to New Orleans. She lives in Texas, but we were supposed to go to New Orleans. And of course it dumped snow so bad here, and all flights got canceled. And I messaged her and I said, okay, since we can't do that, what's next on your list? And she said, I want to go skydiving. And I was like, I guess we're going skydiving, it's like,
here I go, damn, this is happening.
Yeah. So that was a huge thing. And it was the most amazing journey. It was nothing that I expected it to be. I've also gone ziplining in like the mountains in Vail, Colorado. And again, another experience, like you let your fear and all this stuff get to you, and then you finally do it, and it's like, what? But I don't know. I myself, from doing this, have seen, I've gotten to open for huge national acts. I've recorded several albums worth of music. I've gotten to travel to places that I wanted to travel to. I've experienced things. And just even my whole life, I guess, when we're in high school, we're told like, oh, you better go to college or figure out what you want to be, right? So then you go to college for whatever it is, nursing or engineering or whatever. And I've seen a lot of people who started off on that path, and then all of a sudden, and they may have graduated with that degree, and then a few years later, they're doing something completely different. And it's like, well, what happened to your engineering? I realized I didn't want to do it. I realized that this is what I wanted to do instead. And I network with a lot of people. They have businesses and they're very successful. I know that takes a lot of hard work. I know it's a journey, and I'm just blessed to be around these people and to work off their energy and the things that they've been able to do in their life. And, of course, then sharing on like social media, their successes, like watching them travel and do things that they want to do. And so it's just great.
Nice. Where do you find your clients? How do you market yourself?
Online and through face-to-face networking. I go to networking groups around town and stuff, but I also try to get on some online as well, whether they're from people from all over. And the internet has been a huge, wonderful tool. Because when like one of my goals is to be able to go and train companies in Dubai, just so I can go see the architecture and go zip line across from a skyscraper across the water, and just go see all the awesome stuff they have there. But then really to go there and be able to train people from another country, and of course make money, but it's all the little things that get me excited.
So do you said online, do you run like advertisements into a sales funnel? Are you quite active on social media? Do you use LinkedIn?
I use LinkedIn. I feel like a lot of my audience is there. I do post a lot more right now. I do post a lot more of learning, whether it's on connecting or sharing content, but adding adding to whatever the message is. A lot of it's on leadership, a lot of it's on communication. I do stuff on Facebook as well. I do have my own JRM Sources Aspire to Inspire Facebook group, and it's open to the public, so anybody can get in there. And it's just about posting, just getting people to engage in the post. And sometimes that's hard. They like want to just put like smiley face, and I'm like, no, I asked a question, like answer the question. Yeah. And then doing webinars, getting people into doing webinars, Zoom calls, things like that. I do coffee, virtual coffee appointments as well. So anybody can reach out to me. It doesn't matter where you are in the world. I would love to talk to you.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. What sort of things did you struggle with when you really kind of first started out as a coach? What roadblocks did you run into, and how did you overcome them?
All right, this is going to take up the next. It's going to take up the next hour. The rest of the time we're here. I think there's so many moving parts when you're creating a business, whether it's for coaching or selling a product, any other product. But there's so many moving parts, and then there's so many platforms to put it on, and then the CRM programs. Finding the right one that is going to work best for me or you or whoever. That is a huge challenge, because
what did you land on? Which CRM did you land on?
Well, I've traveled. I started on with Now Site, and they were very brand new. A coach had that I had hired had put me into their CRM program, and it was okay, but there was a lot of upgrading and updating. And so it was very frustrating for me, because every time I would try to get on there, it was missing something, or I couldn't access something. And then I went over to Keep, and Keep they're getting better now, because they've actually, they have done for you kind of stuff, but I mean, you still have to fill in a lot of the blanks, right? But I was kind of swimming in the ocean with sharks, and I think it's great for something else, but like if you're selling a product, or if you're, doing, if you've got a team to help you, it's amazing. Yeah. So then I, actually another coach, I started reaching out to other coaches that I knew, because I felt like I was on a hamster wheel. My wheels were just spinning, and I couldn't get my stuff done, because there's like the landing pages, and then you've got a social media engagement and things like that. There's just so many moving parts. And then I had started meeting up with coaches again that I in the area, and I said, well, what are you doing? What are you using? And I got introduced to Coaches Console, and I went to a 3-day free workshop and online, and I just kept jaw dropping. I was like, she is amazing. Her name is Melinda Cohen. I think is her last name, Melinda Cohen. And she has this Coaches Console, and it literally has everything that a coach would need to run a successful business. And plus, she is coaching us on things. It's when I finally got into the program and saw it, I just thought, wow, she's answered every prayer that I've had since really jumping into the coaching thing last year. And yeah, because last year I had another coach, and she just shoved way too much information at me. It was very hard to find to go back and find stuff that I had questions on. She also would say, oh, well, just go look it up in the video. And I'm like, we're having a live coaching session right now that I'm paying her for. And she was telling me to go back and look at a video that you had to just dig. And I'm like, I don't have time to dig, because I also had another full-time job. I have life, my dad was sick. I was helping my family. And yeah, so it was very frustrating. So it took me a while to kind of undo, and then she kind of pulled the rug out from under me. So that really set me back a lot, because I thought, wow, like, I don't want to do this to the people that I serve. But, you know, she really, yeah, she basically had guaranteed me something. That's the reason why I came into the program and paid her what I paid her. And then it was like, after that time had passed, I said, oh, well, you said that you guaranteed. And she said, oh, did you have that in writing? It's like, oh no, you said it to my face on Zoom, and oh yeah, it was very hurtful. And, you know, yeah, it set me kind of in this spinning motion until I met up with Melinda and the coaches console. And so now it's like,
Yeah.
okay, let's do this, like, everybody needs a coach. I don't care who you are. Even if you are a coach, you still need a coach, because you need to be guided. And yeah, so I highly recommend whatever it is that you're trying to do.
Yeah. Every highly successful coach that I've ever spoken with has a coach.
Yes.
Every single one.
Yes.
Without exception.
Yeah.
So,
and it's like, how are you going to coach somebody if you don't have one? It's like that whole thing, like, well, you want me to pay you to coach, but do you have a coach? And I was like, oh no, I don't have a coach. What are you talking about? Why would I have a coach? It's just, it kind of validates why you're doing what you do to your clients. And I think that's not a bad thing at all.
Yeah. What recommendations would you have for new coaches coming right out of the gate?
Oh my goodness.
Something to help them, maybe get to 0 to 60 a little faster.
Okay. So first of all, you don't walk around telling people that you're a coach. Because then people go, well, what do you coach? And then if you don't know what you're actually coaching, then you're not going to get hired. You need to figure out what problem you're solving. Mine is to get traction on their goals. And also on the organization side and the company side is to be able to increase your leadership skills across the whole company, not just expect the supervisor to learn some skills and try to do their job, plus teach everybody below them how to be better connectors and communicators. So find your niche. You can tweak it as you go along. It doesn't have to be perfect, but know what you're talking about. Sell the solution. Don't sell your coaching.
That's super legit advice. That is smart advice. Yeah.
Yeah. Because, people like it when you want to help them. But if you're like, oh, well, I can coach you on that. It's like, what does that mean? Because that can also make people feel a little, like threatened or insecure, or so are you going to tell me what to do? That's not how coaching should be. It's guiding you to things that you already know, the things that you already have in your mind. We just help you pull it out and do something with it.
Yeah, that might, I'm going to be honest here. That might actually be the best advice that I've received on this podcast for new coaches, is to know the problem that you solve and sell the solution, not your coaching.
Right.
For new coaches. I honestly, I think that might be the best advice that we've ever gotten on this podcast for new coaches. That's super solid, because at that point you've got a strong foundation. You know what you're doing. You know why you're doing it. And, and it gives you a foothold in the conversation that you won't have if you step into that conversation saying, I'm a coach, let me coach you.
Right.
Yeah. So
it gives that person like the, oh, yeah, I totally want to talk to you some more. Not just be like, because I know that when I go to a networking meeting, there's probably like 4 or 5 coaches, but I know what their niches are. And I remember seeing a post on Facebook. It's in a networking group, and it was the question was, the find. Somebody needed somebody, and they said, I need somebody who is great in communications.
Mhm.
And I had not been to enough networking meetings for them to put my name in the posting. And I
Mhm.
saw the people that I saw, I was like, what? Like, why are they having that person do it? That's not, that person doesn't do this. This person does this specifically. Like, I already had my one-to-ones with these people, so I knew what their niches are, and they're great at what they do. And so that wasn't the point of like, oh, like I wasn't upset because I was like, oh, they don't know what they're talking about. But other people were posting and they didn't know what that person's actual forte or, niche was
Mhm.
in their in their job, because one of them was a great speaking coach, and they kept posting him, and I was like, he doesn't help with communication and teams. It's not what he does. And then another one, she's great at coaching on goals and career goals. So
Mhm.
whether it is helping you in the company that you're in, or getting you in your resume and everything done to get you to the next company to level up.
Mhm.
And so that, obviously, that was not, that was not what this person needed either. That was not what they were asking for. And I was like, I need to go do some more networking. I need to get myself out there, because a lot of people know that I sing, because I've sang at different events, ceremonies, the national anthem and things like that. So it was like, they're like, oh, she sings and she's funny, and it's like, oh no, but this is what I do for my business. And so it's been interesting to try to get my niche out there. It's like, no, this is what I do.
Yeah. Yeah, and it takes practice.
It
It takes
does. It
practice
takes a lot.
and a willingness to pay attention, I think, to the responses that you get as you're talking about yourself,
Yes.
and adjust and pivot a little bit to what, not only what feels good for you, but what is received well by others. Right.
Yes. And if you believe in something that you're coaching on, or that you want to coach on, don't keep changing it because you tried for a week and you didn't get the response that you thought you'd get.
Mhm.
There's a lot of people, the algorithms, they're horrible. They're horrible for helping, and you were talking about what platforms. I don't do any advertising yet. Facebook has got my stuff all messed up for being able to boost or whatever. So, so I'm kind of just sharing posts. I'm posting information, useful information.
Mhm.
I do some funny stuff, but I will be having a vision board workshop online. It's going to be short and sweet, just to
Mhm.
get you started on your journey to your meeting your goals and making life happier and more exciting for yourself.
Awesome. Awesome, Janet. I want to be conscious of our time here. We're coming up on the hour. Well, first of all, is there anything that you would like to talk about that we didn't get a chance to touch upon thus far in the podcast?
I guess maybe just to reiterate, I do one-to-one coaching, of course, with goals, setting goals, reaching goals. And it's not about lack of knowledge or anything like that. So your self-esteem is safe with me. I am here to bring out the best in you that was already in you the whole time, and guide you to that next step, so we can both jump up and down together and say, yeah. And on the corporate side, I feel like, especially now, that customer service is very down. I feel like a lot of us are virtual, online, connecting with coworkers just on simple, like, one-to-one things, like, hey, how's it going today, is very minimal now. And when you do go back in the office, maybe it is like, hey everyone, like, I haven't seen your face. But it's just, I train on bringing people together on an even level, to also grow their leadership skills, which of course has a lot to do with communication. And I would love to have a one-to-one with anyone who'd be interested, whether it's a small owned business or a huge organization. Let's talk.
Awesome. And Janet, if someone wants to connect with you and schedule that one-on-one, where's the best place for them to connect with you online or on social media?
It would be at JRM Sources dot, and I just changed it. So it's, let me make sure I'm not lying to you. It is jrmsources.coachesconsole.com. And of course, I'm on LinkedIn under Janet R. Martin and on Facebook with the same.
Janet, for those listening, can you spell, so jrmsources.coachesconsult?
Console, like CONSOLE.
SOLE, coaches console. Okay, I got you. Like a tool, like a console, like your car's console.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. We will include that link in the show notes as well.
Great.
Awesome. Janet Martin, thank you so much for making the time to chat with me today. It's been wonderful.
Well, I'm so glad to be able to do this with you.
Yeah, great. And thank you to, of course, our viewers and listeners for joining us as well. And we'll see you guys all next time. Cheers. How do I stop the recording?